Hey there everybody, it's Mark Crilly. I'm back with another How to Draw video. It's Saturday morning as I film this. In fact, I'm just pouring myself a little morning coffee. And we're going to get the day started off with a sip. Oh yeah. And also a How to Draw video. I'm going to be drawing a Chibi character today, and I would like to draw the angry Chibi. I think it's kind of fun to do. So I'm going to start with a few basic guidelines and see where it leads us. Let's begin by putting in just a very rough drawing of this Chibi character's head. It starts off mainly as a circle, and then for the way I do it, it comes down to a little bit of a point at the chin. From there, I'm going to do a very rough indication, there we go, indication, gotta say indication, of the eyebrows, the angry eyebrows, right around the middle of that head, and put in where the mouth is going to go. So hard to avoid the word indication. I've got to come up with some other way of saying that. Let's draw the body. It's coming back like this. Now with the different Chibi styles, I've noticed different artists will make the body larger or smaller. I'm going for quite a small body this time. And let's go ahead and put the legs in here. I'm really minimizing his legs in a big way. You can barely even see them. In fact, I think I'm near the bottom of my video screen, so it's just as well. And I'm going to quickly put in a suggestion of where the suggestion. There you go. A suggestion of where the arms can go. They sort of look like wings or weird slices of pizza or something at this stage, but we'll get to that later. I'm going to zoom in just a little so that we can get closer in on the details of the face. Okay, we've zoomed in on the face now. I can start to get into the details. I'm going to do a first angry eyebrow coming down at, quite an angle here. And one thing I've noticed a lot of the Chibi artists will do is they'll put a sort of a zigzagging line at the end that I think is giving you the idea of the furrowing of the brow. The other eyebrow, if you do one of these on one of the eyebrows, the other eyebrow tends to be simpler, just a little hook. We'll probably do it. One of my favorite things about the Chibi style angry face is often you'll get these sort of burning eyes that are done quite simply, just a couple of loops around of a blank circle, and it really gives you this idea of, for me anyway, of these flaming white hot eyes as the person is absolutely out of his mind, crazy, angry. The shape of the mouth is sort of interesting. It sort of curves up like this. It goes across, it dips just a little bit, I find, and then hooks back down like that. Of course, he's shouting at the top of his lungs. I like to go ahead and keep that sort of point of the chin in there. And then you get just a little bit of an angle as it curves back towards the initial circle that we had there. Now, any angry face is not complete without the internationally recognized symbol of Chibi anger, which when I do it, I tend to go for 4 of these things. It actually relates to the idea of a bulging vein on the side of the head. I think that's what this comes from. And it's really become just a symbol of anger now. Sometimes people will do this with just 3 of these things, I've noticed. And that really, anyone who reads manga will immediately recognize that as the symbol of anger. I'll drop in the ears. This video is not going to be so much about the hair, so forgive me if I kind of zoom through the hair real fast. I'm a big believer in everyone choosing their own hairstyles for their characters anyway. I'm giving this guy spiky hair, though. For some reason, I think that sort of will accentuate the feeling of anger. And a little bit reckless here because I haven't put any guidelines at all. I'm just sort of winging it here. Forgive me if this ends up looking terrible. And we're at the upper end of my video space anyway, so I don't think you're seeing too much of these strands of hair at the top. I'm going to try to do this one with no time lapse. I think with a Chibi drawing I ought to be able to do that. and still have a quality final result. One last thing to do the angry face, I'm going to do a series of vertical lines here, and notice that they don't pass through the eyes, but they do sort of cover the upper half of the face. And this, I think, is giving us the idea of him going red in the face with anger. Your main job is to keep them pretty evenly spaced, I'd say. And there you go for that. Maybe toss in 1, 2, 3, or more drops of sweat that are shooting off the side of his head. I'm going to pull back so I can do the body and the arms and the rest of the drawing. Okay, so here we go with my favorite part of the drawing in many ways, the waving arms. This guy's so angry that he's sort of like waving his arms up and down to express his anger. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, let's go for 5 lines like that on this side of the drawing. And over here you want to kind of echo that a second time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are just going to be the arms waving up and down, and at the end you kind of have to do this fairly quickly, and it feels a little weird that these little balls like this are supposed to be his fists, and they tend to overlap each other. If you've got 5 of those lines at the bottom, you probably need 5 of these circles to have that work. Let's go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm kind of deliberately making them messy, and if you kind of curve in here, for me that sort of begins to give you a feeling of the thumb maybe crossing in front of the fingers, something like that. I mean, keep them cleaner if you like that style. And then I think 1 or 2 additional sort of motion lines can help you out across the outside. I guess I'll go for 3 here. Help you give that feeling of the arms waving madly up and down. Let's go ahead and get the body in here. I may actually make his body just a tiny bit smaller than I had in my initial guidelines. This nice thing about doing Chibi style characters is the body is so minimized. If you're no good at drawing the human body, you can still be a master of Chibi drawing. Not that I am one of those. Let's go ahead and erase some of those initial guidelines. And I think for once I can do my shading with this black colored pencil. The other, the Dixon Ticonderoga that I sometimes use would maybe allow for greater subtlety in the shading, but I don't know if I need that today. I'm going to go ahead and shade this in. I like to do all of my shading lines in a single direction. And maybe you guys can tell me when it comes to this bulging vein, I tend to leave that area unshaded just to help it stand out a little bit. Maybe I need to study my manga a little closer and see if manga artists will actually fill that area in with shading in the real... I think every artist kind of comes up with their own ways of doing these things anyway, so... That's going to shade that in. I'm going to shade the mouth, and in doing the mouth, I like to make the upper section of the mouth a little darker, and then I sort of let up on the pencil as I go down. It sort of lightens up. This way you get a feeling of shadow, sort of. It helps convey the wide-opened mouth effect. I feel like I'm almost done with this drawing, actually. I'm going to go ahead and shade in his pants. Shading in quickly is not a bad idea. I notice with a lot of these Chibi drawings, they're done pretty quickly with a certain looseness. And there you have it, my angry Chibi dude. I hope that you found this video useful. Let me see if I can grab a copy of Brody's Ghost so I can give you one last little plug before we go. So yeah, I grabbed a copy of Brody's Ghost, my new graphic novel series from Dark Horse. Many, many thanks to anyone who gets that. Before that, of course, was Miki Falls from HarperCollins, another graphic novel series. And I thought of one last thing, actually, before I wind this down, that it could be make this a little more fun for you. Why not show you how to write a little Japanese word here when a person is angry? Very often they will say the word "dame," which means, I don't know, you can't do that, or that's unacceptable, or no way, or, come up with your own translation. But so this is the Japanese katakana, actually, and I noticed that a lot of, rather than using hiragana, a lot of the manga artists will write katakana in these situations. That's da, this is me, dame. Then a nice long line here to show how long the sound is, and then they tend to put a little tsu at the end here. And I'm going to go ahead and darken this in. Not that my handwriting, or what would you call this, calligraphy, is the world's best here, but I actually, again, the manga artists, when they're doing chibi style, they're not sitting here doing beautiful handwriting. It's supposed to look very casual and kind of like it was done in just a couple of seconds, which in fact it probably really was. So there we go. We kind of finish up with a little Japanese lesson there. Dame! And I can lay the pencil down. Thank you for watching this video. I do hope you found it useful, and I will be back with another one real soon.